On this episode of the John1911 Podcast, stop screwing with each other. The Kraken comes to land, shooting an Ithaca loose, and a sniper rifle keyholes. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. This is Kraken and Marky, and this is episode 382 of the John1911 Podcast. I have a special treat for everybody today. Kraken is on the scene of the crime here at the John1911 range. And we were hanging out for a few days, shooting guns and having fun. Company motto. So, how you been, stranger?
Not too bad at all. Just kind of enjoying my time out here and getting some time behind the trigger and just having a blast.
You've been, what have you shot so far? You shot
let's see, we shot the FN, the ONG 870, the Ithaca 37.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
The Ed Brown.
I forgot about those guns.
The keyhole gun.
Oh Lord, we'll save that when we get to the gun stuff. We're gonna, oh boy, certain corners of the gun community are going to be screaming. And you know, if you are in the gun community and you're listening to this podcast, you have to sit on the edge of your seat and just wait until we get into it. So, well. Before we get into the fun stuff, I guess we got to talk about the crappy shit that's going on. I mean, there's been a lot of crappy stuff that's been happening in America the past number of weeks, and including this fly over my head right now on the podcast. But is there any updates on they arrested the Charlie Kirk shooter, yes. Right? They've arrested somebody. And I guess the guy is pro-trans?
Apparently, from what they're putting out, pro-trans, anti-Trump. Just kind of fitting the mold that everybody thought so far as what they've released. So,
yeah.
We're also kind of in that mode of we don't know what we don't know also.
Yeah, that's, and to be completely transparent to the listener at home, part of the reason why, again, we've been busy, but there's been a lot going on, but the goal is to do more podcasts more frequently. But when something like this really happens, that kind of really zaps the zeitgeist of the country, it's best, I've decided, for us to wait and see kind of how things develop, because we don't know what we don't know. And, people make assumptions and conclusions, and people also try to shoehorn stories into their narrative of their political ideology. And I think this one's going to set the record for this is going to have to be the record for the amount of people that have lost their job for shit that's going on, with the news. The amount of people that have come out and said crazy shit and they're losing their jobs. Yep. Like this has got to be, every time I open up the news, we've had stuff here in Cincinnati. There was some barbecue restaurant. Their co-founder has left the company, and then they were fired, and then I guess this restaurant was also associated with Major League Soccer. Is that what do you call it? Major League Soccer? Mm-hmm. Do you call it Big Soccer? I don't know what like.
It was like FCC football club something.
Yeah. Cincinnati. I guess it's FC Cincinnati. I guess that's what they call it here.
Yeah.
I don't think it has a name like the Trojans or the Minotaurs, right? They don't.
No, I think they're on the European model where it's just, like Manchester United, because they're in Manchester. It's in America, so it's Football Club Cincinnati.
Okay.
If Omaha had one, it would be FCO probably, Football Club Omaha, the way I understand it. Yeah. I'm not really a soccer guy myself. But.
Yeah, I'm not, I saw the news, I guess the first night after the shooting, they fired, is it MSNBC? I could be misreporting that. I don't know if it's MSNBC, but Mark Dowd, mm-hmm. He's the one that got out there and said that he thought we don't know what we don't know. So kind of the same vein of what we're doing, but then he speculates we don't know if celebratory gunfire, one of Charlie Kirk's supporters was shooting a gun in the air, and it's just really just showing his ass. He didn't make it 24 hours. They fired his ass. Mm-hmm. And fun fact, his girlfriend is Maria Shriver, is Sir Arnold Schwarzenegger's ex-wife. Dowd, he used to work for George W. Bush. He was I think he was one of the co-managers or whatever of the George W. Bush, election campaign. That guy's a Republican or Rhino Republican. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but I keep seeing. Well, you were telling me some teacher.
I know of 2 teachers in Iowa that one right now from Oskaloosa, Iowa, is on suspension pending investigation over comments he made on Facebook. And a teacher in Cruston, Iowa, I don't know what her status is right now, but she posted some really ignorant, vile stuff on Facebook. And actually, by the next morning, the superintendent of that school district put a post on Facebook that, I'm paraphrasing, basically said, yes, we're aware she said something stupid, and we're looking into it, and it'll be handled according to district policy.
Do they still put moral turpitude clauses in those contracts?
I really don't know anymore.
Did you have a moral turpitude clause when you were with the police departments?
Yes.
Yeah. The moral turpitude clause is the one that gets you all. That's
kind of a catch-all for anything not specifically defined.
Yeah. You act like a douchebag, embarrass yourself or any associates. It's grounds for termination. So it's just been... like all the big one, because again, we've been on the range today, so we really haven't seen anything. I mean, like there's kind of like this concept, as a business owner that if you're a business owner, you're aware of this. And when you tell people, they go, well, yeah, of course, but you don't realize this is something that goes through your mind every day. Is you can have a business where it's a family business. Maybe it's your life. Maybe it's you inherit it from your family. Maybe it's your startup business. Maybe it's your all this stuff. And whatever this business is, and you could just have some employee with your company's name on their shirt walk out in public and just destroy your destroy your livelihood, your family's livelihood, your legacy, because they do something goofy. And like one of the examples that I think a lot of people are familiar with, and again, it's not a serious thing, but again, from a business perspective, it was serious, is Dave Portnoy would show up at these pizza places and, do these one bite reviews, and they get a lot of traffic. And every once in a while, you'd get some assistant wannabe manager shift leader who'd show up and come out and give Dave Portnoy a hard time for filming on my sidewalk. And like really making an ass out of himself, but he's representing the business he doesn't own. He's not a stakeholder in. And, Dave Portnoy basically ends up going, fuck this place, fuck this pizza, fuck these people, they have a bad attitude. I give them a 4-4, and it just destroys a business. And the biggest one that I've seen, we'll see how it shakes out, was TMZ, Harvey Levin and whatever, they're broadcasting live from their newsroom. And I guess word is coming across the wire services that Charlie Kirk has passed. And they're broadcasting live, and then in the background, you hear people clapping and laughing, like, yay, whatever, like this one woman's voice in particular. And, he's like, what's going on over there? And then a few seconds later, Harvey Levin are telling him in his earpiece, and it's just been announced that Charlie Kirk has passed. He hasn't survived his injuries. And, it's because Harvey Levin, when he was talking on air, did not know, because he's talking on air like right now. Like right now, something could happen in the world, and I don't know what happened because I'm looking at a computer screen, and Kraken could be looking at his phone and he could see something and be like, woohoo. And, I'm like, yeah, what's going on? It comes across on my computer, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, even though I'm the owner of the company, or Harvey Levin's the owner of the company, he got stepped on by a bunch of people that make whatever an hour, that they look like fucking ghouls, cheering this man's death. and, you know, they're trying to spin it and doing whatever. And, you know, but TMZ's problem is their whole building is wired for sound. I mean, they broadcast, they're an internet company. They broadcast everything live, you know, all the time. They do shows all day. And I think more videos come out claiming that there's more proof that these people were dancing on Charlie Kirk's grave. And I just wonder, is this going to be the beginning of the end of a lot of these people? Like, I don't like, we personally, like I used to use TMZ as a media source for, you know, a number of years, because it was a good way for me to go to a central location to get, you know, Hollywood pop culture stuff, and I could go to other places and get other stories. But it just got to be so, it was during the Trump stuff, it just got to be so over the top. I just like, I can get what I want and get what I need and get better balanced coverage without having to, you know, deal with all this craziness. And it's like, well, you know, apparently the craziness hasn't really stopped over at TMZ. They're cheering Charlie Kirk. I mean, you know, and it's like, is there going to be, I don't know, like, how does TMZ make money? Do they sell commercials?
Is it a subscription-based system with them, or?
Well, it can't. I mean, it can't be completely subscription based, because you can go to it. TMZ is basically a paparazzi website.
That's kind of the way I understood it. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, do they license photographs to other media outlets? I don't really know how they make money. Mm-mm. But it's good. You know, it's just you keep seeing, like, what was it? What was it? The NFL had to fire somebody. Was it the NFL? TMZ forced to apologize. Staff laughed at Charlie Kirk's death. And then there was another one. There's someone who's, I don't know, a communications person. I thought this person worked at one of these NFL. He worked at some sporting franchise. Mm-hmm. And I guess he got on Twitter and said something shitty, you know, and lost his fucking job. And it's just, you know, and I'm not, you know, it's not that I'm not sympathetic to their, you know, because what it is, people are taking all this stuff and they're wearing it like it's a sports jersey, and people, you know, they're hyperbolic with everything, and, you know, like, everything's the most important thing ever. Like, this is the most important game. This is the most important thing. This is the most important. And so they're more about wearing a jersey and rubbing it in someone else's face than looking at things from a right, wrong perspective, or, you know, looking at themselves in a mirror. And it's what I know is there are a lot of people right now, and this is not whataboutism, but I'm telling you, because I went through this. When Barack Obama was president, and every time Barack Obama did something or said something, and, you know, on Facebook, on our social media, I mean, like, people would roll in, and we would get these people that would come in, and they caucus with me. I'm a conservative. They caucus with us. We're conservatives. You know, they basically believe the things that I believe, and they support the things that I support, and they vote the way that I vote. But they would come in and they would say the most horrible, ridiculous, crazy, batshit things about Barack Obama. And we banned, if not 100, it was hundreds of people over 8 years. I mean, you can't come in and threaten the president of the United States, you know. And if it's, you know, I used to give the speech, like, I didn't vote for Barack Obama. I don't support Barack Obama. I don't care for Barack Obama. And, you know, and as much of a waste it would be and a joke, I mean, I would literally take a bullet for the man, even now, because because you don't get to touch a president, you don't get to touch a former president. I'm not so fucked up in the head that because he's a Democrat that, I have to, because he wears a different colored jersey, that I'm okay with people saying crazy shit. And I banned everybody from my side. I banned all these people from our social media. And it's going to be real interesting to watch the left to see if they're going to do it. Because, you and I talked about this earlier, I can be super critical going back to people on the right, all the way back to, like the example I gave to you earlier, it's not really relevant to this, but, Jimmy Swaggart, I can say all kinds of stuff about Jimmy Swaggart, and everybody on the right, I need $40 million or the Lord's going to call me home. And how much of a joke that was. And, the right has to take it because it's true. You say one thing critical about shit they do on the left, and not only do they not want to hear it, you're a Nazi. Like I'm a Nazi or I'm this or I'm that. And it's going to be really interesting to see how far the firings, and the I don't know what you want to call it, debanking, but the canceling, I guess canceling is the word, is going to go. It's become so apparent that people on the right are so used to having to live under these newspeak rules that people on the left can just say anything and do anything and behave any way, and there's no repercussion. And a lot of y'all lefties are getting caught, and it's terrible what's happening out there right now. Just, Charlie Kirk is a man that in many ways, like some school teacher in Iowa, Charlie Kirk never really did anything to that school teacher. Wasn't really part of that person's life. And that school teacher doesn't have a job today. And no one was asking that school teacher to like Charlie Kirk. But, maybe don't cheer for somebody's murder. Maybe you shouldn't be teaching kids.
Pretty basic concept.
And it's just, we're both probably out of the loop as to where things are right now with everything. But, like the quote from Landman, the scene, I'll paraphrase it with a different thing, is that you must be worth $40 million because you sure as hell don't want a fucking job, libs. And I'm not trying to be sexist, but is it just me, or is it proportionally the amount of women that will get on the internet and say crazy batshit stuff? There's guys like the teacher, whatever, but I feel like it's more women.
It definitely feels that way to me. It's that college age to mid 30 to 40s liberal white women that seem to take up their cause to the extreme.
Yeah, it's just, they'll get on there and they'll laugh and they'll dance and just,
and just say heinous, vile things.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's almost immediately after the story. Mm-hmm. It's not like, oh, we've had 24 hours or we know the facts or we know anything. And, it's just everyone is so interested in being first. And everyone is so interested in being right. They're not interested in the truth. And it's like, when the shooting at the Catholic school with the kids, just 2 weeks ago. Was that 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And these news outlets are supposed to be like, hey, we have a report. Can we confirm this? Can you get someone to verify this? They come out and they're like, yeah, it was a white male shooter or a Republican or an NRA member. And then they say this shit. And then it's like, well, turns out it's not quite the narrative you were going for there. It's a crazy trans person. And, that's why we kind of go dark when stuff happens. It's like, there was nothing we were going to be able to tell you about Charlie Kirk yesterday that you didn't already know. We were trying to follow it just the way the rest of you were. But a lot of these people, it's just, I'm shocked at how over their skis they get on stuff. And now they're to the point that, this is normal, everyday people losing their fucking jobs. You know, it's not like, you know, we lost this podcast. Oh, well, John1911's over. Podcast is over. We're going to be fine. But these people going out there just slitting their own throats.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it's
like they're playing Russian roulette with a semi-automatic.
It's just they don't even like. It's been shocking. It's just been, you know.
Some of the liberal celebrations over this reminds me of 30 minutes after a Super Bowl victory. There's cheering, yelling in the streets, high fives. It's a carnival atmosphere, and I've just seen so much of that over the last couple days. It's like this is a murder of an innocent human being. You may not agree with him, you may not like his politics, you may not like his religion, but at the end of the day, he was an American citizen, a human being. You should not be celebrating his death like you would if your favorite team just won the Super Bowl.
Well, you know, again, it's interesting to watch the media spin all this, and you watch these people that are celebrating, and they talk about, like, in Europe, they call him like this right-wing provocateur. And, you know, I never really paid that much attention to Charlie Kirk. I didn't really even ever, like, even mentally even notice Charlie Kirk until after Donald Trump won re-election this past year, you know, 9 months ago, is because, you know, there was a lot of attribution of him towards Trump getting, you know, votes to win. But, you know, to me, Charlie Kirk was just like a bunch of these other guys that go around with a microphone and stick it in people's faces and, you know, trying to blow up on the internet. And again, that's an uncharitable position to take on Charlie Kirk. And that's the most uncharitable position I can take, because I have seen a lot of Charlie Kirk stuff over the past, say, 6 months, coincidentally. And one thing I've noticed is Charlie Kirk seemed like the nicest guy ever on the internet. Charlie Kirk never said boo to anybody. Like, he didn't curse at anybody. He didn't, you know, he wasn't provocateur.
No. Here's a clip. They played a clip last night of him at a campus with his "Prove Me Wrong" table. Mm-hmm. And somebody got, and it was a white woman, got up and just profanity laced, you're a fucking fascist, you know, fuck you, da 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 da. And he said, okay, explain to me what I do that makes me a fascist. And she just kind of got this blank look, and it's, well, you fucking are. It's like, well, I'm not a very good fascist because I let people who don't agree with me speak their mind. I try and debate with them. I try not to be disrespectful in the debate, even if I disagree with them. So I have to be the world's worst fascist. And it just shut her down. She didn't know what to do from there.
Yeah.
But I watch a lot of his college Prove Me Wrong table clips.
Yeah.
And that was just his style. He didn't call anybody names. He didn't tell you were crazy. He would say, I think you're wrong. This is why I think you're wrong. Now you tell me why you think you're right. And liberals do not know how to deal with that.
No.
If it's not screaming, cursing, calling somebody a fascist, they don't know how to, there's a large faction of them that don't seem to know how to sit down and have a dialogue and be respectful, agree to disagree at the end of it. They instantly go straight to Nazi, fascist, racist, you know, hate brown people, add them all in there, they use them all. And it's gotten to the point now where they throw out fascists, they throw out Nazis so much that it kind of pisses me off, not because they're calling me a fascist or a Nazi, but they have so devalued the heinous activities of the Nazis.
Yeah.
That you know, it gets really aggravating.
If everybody's a Nazi, then
understand what the Nazis did.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So it has no value anymore.
Yeah.
You can call me a Nazi. I don't care because I've learned through history you don't know what it means.
Well, it's interesting because
it's not an insult.
The way they talk about Charlie Kirk, like they describe him, like all this terrible stuff he does and all these terrible things he is, and it's like I've seen Barack Obama act shittier in public than Charlie Kirk. Like I've seen Barack Obama at speeches get pretty aggressive. Charlie Kirk's never done that. Mm-mm. And you can tell, like, well, who's telling people this? Like, these people that hate Charlie Kirk obviously don't even actually know who he is. And I think that's probably what made him so successful is people would show up. Well, why am I a fascist? What have I done that makes me a fascist? Well, you just are. And he'd win people over because at least, if anything, it would maybe not win him over, but, maybe the guy's not what people think he is. Mm-hmm. And...
he may not win the person over that's calling him a fascist, but other people in the vicinity that saw it and went, he kind of has a point that he's being called a fascist, but I haven't heard anybody say what his actual fascist activity is. So he may not have won person A over that was being accusatory, but he made other people at least ponder the subject of, is he really a fascist? Is he really a Nazi?
Yeah.
Nobody's been able to tell me why he's a Nazi. So maybe I should think a little more about it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And like in these, and again, this is what really gets us in trouble with the conspiracy theories. Because, the other thing is once somebody's shot, out comes the trained sniper fucking argument.
Oh, God.
Somebody's only a trained sniper or a trained professional. And you can tell, like, you get people, it's 12 hours after this happened. They may be conservative. They may own a gun. They don't know shit from Shinola. And they're just getting up there filling the airtime because their show's from 8 to 9. And they just have to start saying things because 200 yards sounds like a long distance to them. And it's like 200 yards is a fucking point blank rifle shot, for a lot of calibers. And so it turns into because people hear this stuff. And so they assume that, well, if I heard it on the talking head between 8 and 9 o'clock, told me it had to be a professional hit. And then they come up with some dork, who can't fucking, load a magazine hardly and doesn't meet the narrative of the trained professional. He's a patsy. It's, it's not him. They're just, it's a conspiracy theory. And it's just like, oh God. And you just see all this happen. And then you saw people sending me shit on the hand signals. And like the one guy I saw hand signals, I just was like, I'm going to ignore this. Then because Kraken has a fair amount of experience working, I would say, well, I'll say it because you're not going to say it. Kraken has a fair amount of experience working highly charged, violent, and potentially violent security events. I'm not talking like football games. I'm talking working events where people will show up to kill you. And so you have a lot more insight into somehow a lot of that works. Some of that works anyway. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you want to elaborate on it. We don't have to, but yeah. So
I've been around the block a couple times.
Been around the block a few times.
But the conspiracy theories on the hand signals they were getting just ridiculously crazy. I heard everything from, the hand signals meant go ahead and take the shot to the hand signals meant targets down, no need for a follow-up shot, go ahead and exfil. I mean, just all kinds of crazy stuff. And honestly, a lot of those hand signals are...
Dude scratching his nose.
Well, it's like baseball. With signaling, there's always a trigger signal. Mm-hmm. So you give the trigger signal, and that means, basically strong message follows. It doesn't mean I got a fly landed in my nose.
Yeah.
And then the signals are fairly simple. They're just meant to draw attention to something. So it may be something as simple as check out the dude, to the left of you.
Yeah.
It can be as simple as we're just about out of time. We got to make a flight, so let's start making exfil arrangements to get our principal out of here.
Yeah. Or hey, principal needs a bathroom.
Yeah. And with a qualified security detail, there's usually a couple of gray men floating around that you don't obviously know are security. Well, as soon as they pick up a radio and try and say something over a radio, they've just outed themselves. They're no longer useful in a crowd. So if it just looks like, some dude, kind of wiped his brow with his ball cap and scratched his nose, that doesn't out him nearly as much as, talking into your wrist cuff microphone.
Now let's go ahead. But again, because what's happened here is because we've kind of gone into the way people act on the internet. We've gone into everything's a trained professional sniper, Jason Bourne fucking thing. And now every there's all these John Wick secret fucking guys around with the hand signals. And, I just want to make a point to the average listener at home. I don't know to what level Charlie Kirk had security. Most security that I've dealt with is basically from 0 to about 35 feet, 25 feet. And, having security where you got other people, you're much beyond like a body man. This shit gets expensive fast. And if there's other people working this crowd, and again, you don't even know if it's Kirk's security, if it's the local PD, they're working it, or if there's, everybody wants to again, private security, suddenly because people watch movies and they watch TV and they watch Hollywood, they want to think that Charlie Kirk's got like the Secret Service around him and snipers and counter snipers and, there's an ambulance with this blood type in it, and there's a counter assault force, and there's drone coverage, mm-hmm. And it's like people are like, there's no fucking drone coverage for goddamn Charlie Kirk. No disrespect to Charlie Kirk, maybe there was, because apparently Charlie Kirk's business was worth $100 million. I had no idea. I have no idea what percentage of money or overhead that that they were spending to cover themselves. Because a lot of people try to keep that kind of quiet. But it's like none of this is... Charlie Kirk had more security than your average celebrity by a lot.
I would say that's very safe to say.
Yeah, at least at these events.
Yeah.
And, it's not like some secret trans CIA ground branch, the pink... Instead of ground branch, it's pink branch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could, just like everybody's just running around like a crazy person because they're trying to fill the air, making shit up to keep the TVs running. And that's why we kind of go dark, is like, we don't know what we don't know. And, I don't know.
And it's not fair to our listeners if we start pontificating on our theories, because that can help spread disinformation or false information.
Yeah.
And I know you like to think this, and I like to think this, that when we say something, we can, if not factually back it up, at least back it up to the point of this is a logical conclusion based upon what we do know at the time.
Well, yeah, it's human nature. Like, you and I will look at something, and, and I may think to myself, and I might even, you and I, if we have these conversations, we have these text messages, something will be happening, and I'll be like, yeah, I bet it's this. Or there's a high chance of this. And it turns out it's not. It was something you said it was. Or, or it was something different. Just because we stake out positions personally, trying to figure out what's happening because we're reacting to what we're seeing, it doesn't mean that we're prepared to say it publicly. Because we know we're kind of flipping a coin on a lot of this stuff. I bet this was this, or I bet this was that. But it doesn't mean we're going to get out and fire up the podcast and start telling people that, because it's going to like, oh, we didn't know there was a third factor. We were completely wrong, And a lot of times, there's this phrase, I used to use it, and it used to be fairly commonly understood. First reports are almost always wrong, and it's always served me very well. And I try not to get caught up in, getting in those cycles of first reports. I've gotten burned on them publicly in the past, and I try to never forget them so I don't make the same mistakes again. Because one of the rules in life is, if you don't learn from your mistakes, then you're not going to get better. And so the Charlie Kirk stuff, a lot of it kind of hit me out of the blue. Like, I just didn't even realize, I didn't know he was still doing these big giant things. Like, we're not in an election cycle. Like, I just have no idea.
And the way I found out, quite honestly, I was just kind of chilling in the hotel room and drinking a can of Coke, and it was early afternoon, and I was actually had it on Fox News, wasn't even listening, and they interrupted some talking head, they were interviewing, and it sounded kind of dramatic, like it was just not something simple, like Trump's going to address the Naval Academy. Okay, sure, that's breaking news by Fox News standards, but it's not any earth-shattering thing I'm going to look up from my phone to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
But the tone was completely different. And the first 2 hours of what they were broadcasting, a lot of it turned out to be incorrect.
Oh, yeah.
They probably within 30 minutes, they were reporting, that they had a shooter in custody.
Yeah.
And it turns out it's just the local whack job being a nut. Then they had a person of interest that was being detained and questioned, and the talking heads were going down the road of, sounds like we got our guy. Come to find out, they had to release him. They didn't have enough to hold him. And then there was kind of radio silence for over 24 hours. And then last night I was running an errand and driving back, and had it on Fox News on my satellite radio. And all of a sudden, they started with, there was supposed to be a press conference with law enforcement, and it's inexplicably been postponed with no time or date given. And then little bits started trickling in, and all the talking heads, started trying to pontificate on what they thought that meant. And then they had the news conference last night, and they released pictures and some video of the exfil of the suspected shooter. And then this morning, President Trump was actually on Fox News, and that's how the news was broke that they had one under, because he told, I forget who was interviewing him, but he spilled the beans and said, I'm not going to say too much. I'm going to leave it up to Kash Patel and the FBI, but they have a person in custody that they're pretty sure he did it.
Yeah.
But everything kind of up to that point, it just kept changing, and people, even at Fox News, people would just keep running with it.
Because they're on air, and they have to keep talking, stretch. Like, here's, they have to keep the, I find in big events like this, it's almost best to, maybe it's a bias I have now, but I almost like decouple from the news, because I know most of what I'm going to hear is bullshit. Like, I'll drop it and be like, okay, what do we actually know now? And nothing major. They're just filling airtime. It's like, professional this and that. Again, it's the same. You starting to see the same patterns for every high-profile news story, and I just feel like it's best to kind of chill out and not get wrapped up in it, and then kind of swoop back in when actual facts can be discussed, and you can be informed. So, like,
I don't have the ability to disengage. It's just not the way I'm driven.
Yeah,
I've learned to take everything that I hear or see or read with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Okay. Until you got a guy in handcuffs and you can definitively, this is Joe Blow and he did this, and we have video and we have forensic evidence and we got his ass nailed to the wall. So even, if you notice, like when we just text back and forth when there's some type of critical event, I preface almost everything that I send you with, this is the source, and they are reporting this and this and this.
Yeah.
And you'll ask me, is there any confirmation of that? Nothing past wherever I got it from.
Yeah, I guess I tend to ask that a lot. I go, do you have confirmation?
So you ask me if I have confirmation, and I pretty much always preface it with, this is being reported by, and then da-da-da-da-da. And then more often than not, we have to revisit it and say, well, that turned into a shit show and didn't pan out because now they're reporting this and this and this.
Yeah, and we can afford to do that because we're not on the air.
Exactly.
And we're not racing to try to get something to keep an audience, because if we don't keep that audience, they're going to switch to CNN.
We don't have a financial interest in being the first to break any news.
Yeah.
Well, we have the luxury of being able to stand back and.
But if you don't have any news to break, don't make it up.
Exactly.
So,
200-yard trained sniper. I mean, it was getting so bad. It was, you would think this guy was a Delta SEAL door gunner on a space shuttle.
Look,
by the way, some of the talking heads were spinning it, and it's like,
is that video of actually Charlie Kirk getting shot? Has that actually been pulled off the internet now?
I don't know. I know last night you could still find it.
I remember the first time I saw it. It was, when was Charlie Kirk shot? Was he shot yesterday or the day before?
Would have been Wednesday afternoon.
Today's Friday, so the day before.
Yeah.
And I saw the video, and I'm like, wow, someone got pretty close to Charlie with a gun in a crowd. And then I saw a different video where it was somebody was filming from like the second story of whatever, and you could see hundreds of people, and I heard that gunshot, and I'm like, oh, that was a fucking rifle.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, again, I, am just like everybody else at home. It's like, oh man, someone got pretty close to Charlie with a handgun. Because again, it's like, well, you tell fucking handgun from a fucking rifle. It's like, well, I'm looking at this on a video with a fucking microphone that tries to level out everything. You don't realize that when you're listening to stuff electronically, the shit doesn't sound the way it sounds in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have said some shit that was wrong. It's like, oh, it looks like Charlie, someone, shot him. I mean, if I had said handgun, and then a conspiracy theorist out there be like, these fucking experts over there, John1911 said, that it was a handgun. First reports was a handgun, and now it's a rifle from this guy, that's some bullshit rifle, and I think the kill team was up close with the fucking making the hand signals. Like, you can just go bonkers with this, and it's like, I'm just not interested in participating in any of it. I feel terrible for these people. Mm-hmm. I feel terrible Charlie Kirk seemed like, look, then we're going to get off Charlie Kirk, but I just want to make this point. I remember I was listening to some analysis of some political stuff, and they were talking about who's going to succeed Trump. Who's on deck to succeed Trump, and it was, obviously, is J.D. Vance going to succeed? It was the first one is Trump going to try to run for a third term? You go through that drama, and then it's like, is J.D. Vance, going to try to succeed Trump? Well, he's the logical choice, but you never know in 4 years what's going to happen. And then Rubio supposedly is getting some juice and some play, and like maybe Rubio may want to try, or maybe it would be Vance and Rubio, and all this. And then Charlie Kirk's name started coming up, and they're like, I am telling you, Charlie Kirk is probably the most powerful political person in the country right now that is not actually in politics. And I remember thinking, what the fuck? Charlie Kirk, really? The guy
that argues with college kids over...
Yeah. Like I literally, and that was this year. I'm like, what? Because I don't know. Like, he's just not really kind of on my radar. And and so I would start paying more attention to him. Like, I didn't know that he had $100 million business. Like, I didn't know that I've learned more about Charlie Kirk over the past 6 months, and I've learned more about Charlie Kirk over the past 72 hours than I could have possibly imagined. And I pretty much guarantee every one of you listening to this podcast knew all of this, and I didn't. You know more than me. So it's like, we're not going to talk about Charlie Kirk on a fucking podcast. Except now we are, 3 days later, for 40 minutes.
But we also know more than what we did 3 days ago.
We know more. So that's where we're at. Want to talk about fun shit?
Sure.
I don't want to talk about that girl getting stabbed. Do you want to talk about the girl getting stabbed?
The only thing I want to say about that, and it's really working on me psychologically, it really bugs me. There's a picture of her after she's been stabbed, curled up, looking up for somebody to help her. And the best way I've been able to frame this that I can understand it is she was not alone on that train car, but yet she still died alone.
Yeah.
She crossed over without so much as one person holding her hand to try and tell her it was going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. She
died alone amongst people. And there's just something about that that's really bothered me since I've seen it. It's, I don't know how else to explain it. It makes me extremely angry. I'm not going to get into why I think it happened or, any of that shit. I just want to say that it is just a damn shame that somebody that was completely innocent in the situation had people around her, but yet she had to cross over alone.
Well, if you zoom out from that situation to 30,000 feet, people were talking race, people were talking this, and people were talking, like if it had been a bunch of white people sitting around while a black person was stabbed and not helping and not doing anything and not reacting, and then, is it racial? And the comments, the guy said, I got that white girl. Forget all of that. We're kind of at the same problem that has been going on now for probably 15 years. And the problem is the video camera. There are a lot of people who advocated for things like body cams and dash cams because, the system was dirty, the system was rigged, everybody's innocent, or there's a lot of people innocent, the good people are getting caught up. But unfortunately, what's happened is all these security cameras and all these surveillance cameras and all these body cameras are catching all of the craziness that goes on. And unfortunately, the disproportionate amount of which it takes place within certain communities. And nobody has to say it anymore. There used to be this unwritten rule. This was true. This was true. And it even was reflected in pop culture. It was reflected in like the police movies and the stories. The idea of the police officer who they go out there, the young cop that wants to change the world and fight crime. And then he or she becomes jaded and they deal with the underworld and, they're smart street cops and they're, they've got connections and know how to deal with people and, they know how to deal with criminals and talk to criminals and criminals can talk to them and they have these relationships with these dangerous people. And there was always this wall that was between law enforcement of you don't want to see the underbelly of society. You don't want to see what it's like out there on the street. We keep the people at bay. It's like the Colonel. You need me on that wall. You want me on that wall. And now today, you want to see what all the cops see? You want to see the truth? You want to see, how shitty all these people are? Just open up YouTube, open up Twitter, open up Instagram, there's a thing on Instagram now. There's a trend. You'll see these videos on Instagram and you'll see these comments every day. Oh, look, here's another day of Instagram showing me somebody dying. And it's almost become where people are like, I can't believe Instagram's showing this. And we're not talking like shit in Brazil. We're talking shit in America. And it's becoming to the point that everybody's just kind of like, oh, like this is not me saying this, so don't come at me, internet. But it was Like, I've seen videos of the black guy killing the Ukrainian girl for no reason. It looks, I think that knife probably collapsed on that guy. I think it probably cut his hand. But you'll see the comments and people go, "Oh, look, socioeconomic factors," or like that's the big one. Oh, look, here comes socioeconomic factors again.
The mental health system failed him. It's not his fault.
Yeah, but like the big one is like, socioeconomic factors. Socioeconomic factors have, committed another murder. Or you'll see the ones in Europe you see all the time. Because it's all these people that have come into Europe that obviously don't want to assimilate in society. And they're different races. It's not the same race of the people of the Ukrainian woman, but it's in Europe. You'll see it as, oh, look, another engineer. Like you see like this attack and be like, oh, look, more doctors enriching our community. And because people are just, you don't have this wall between, you don't have law enforcement and third shift and life after dark separating you from what really happens out there, because it's on your phone. It's in your pocket every day, and it's changing. It's going to be real interesting to see the politics of all this change. What's happening to the politics of this kind of stuff. I mean, just the politics in this country of just over 3 years ago of the allowing trans people to beat up girls in sports has changed dramatically in 3 years. Mm-hmm. Now they've seen so many of these issues of people getting crippled. Did one girl die in like a volleyball game?
I'm familiar with, she didn't die, but she has a TBI from taking a spiked volleyball from a trans male to the face.
Then like the one out of Texas where the quote, the girl is wrestling, the trans girl's wrestling the real girl. And like, it's just like to see just literally manhandling this teenage girl, like the look on her face as she's being choked, like just ragdolled.
Yeah.
Like this wasn't a wrestling match. This was a slaughter. And, everybody can see this and everybody can watch it on their phones every day, and everybody can watch socioeconomic factors have increased, are up 30% over last year, or, doctors enriching our community are up 30% in these, in England, or, diversity is our strength. Hand grenade attacks in Sweden. Like, I didn't make that up. That's a thing. Like, in Sweden, these immigrant groups have formed up into gangs, and I don't know if they're killing each other or if they're killing other gangs, but somehow these assholes are getting hand grenades. Like, yo, you holding out on me? Where's my hand grenades? Like, how are they getting hand grenades in Sweden? Like, I don't know, but I can tell you, yes, I do. They're getting them out of fucking Ukraine. They're black marketing these things, and they're coming out of the Balkans, and they're traveling across Europe. And all the weapons that are being dumped in. Look, I support arming the Ukrainians, but I'm not, just because I support arming the Ukrainians doesn't mean I'm gonna like inconvenient, like, well, it's inconvenient that, like, all of a sudden there's all these hand grenade attacks in fucking Sweden. It's like, boy, these fucking hand grenades aren't coming from the NRA member in Iowa. They're traveling in the EU across open borders and smuggled out of Ukraine. And the politics of that are changing. Politics in Europe are changing. Politics in America are changing because of all this. Because the media can't hide it anymore. Watching Stephen Colbert and Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert getting nervous on national television on his show while Jon Stewart starts cracking jokes about, well, the coronavirus came because a pangolin kissed a turkey you know, in the same place where there's the Wuhan fucking Institute of Virology that's run by the Chinese army. I mean, it's like you don't have Walter Cronkite anymore getting on national television and just finally reading a headline going, the war in Vietnam is unwinnable or is now lost. Somebody telling people the way it's going to be, you just see it yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, is it lost? Because it turns out, oh, by the way, the war in Vietnam wasn't lost when Walter Cronkite said that. Turns out the Tet Offensive, the North Vietnamese got their ass fucking handed to them. You know, yep. It's just funny how all this works out. You know, we'll see. Again, we're supposed to talk about something fun.
Yep.
How many guns have we broken since you've been in town?
Have we broken or broke in?
Broken. Well, hey, you know what? Yeah, be positive.
We didn't break it.
Is it broken or is it broke in?
It's well broke in.
And you know what? If you had a Ferrari dealership, I would put you in a service department. Like right now, I'd be like, your car's not broken. It's broke in.
It's not a piece of shit. It's a high mileage model.
Yeah, it's got character.
Yeah.
So the Ithaca. So how hard do Ithaca 37 shotguns recoil because they're lightweight?
Like a mule kick in the balls.
Yeah, hard enough that they start to shake themselves apart into pieces.
Yep. I guess so.
Yeah, you thought I was talking about the French gun. No,
I forgot we broke the Ithaca.
Yeah, fucking Ithaca.
I mean, let me rephrase that. We
broke it in.
We broke it in and added miles to it.
We increased the vintage.
Yes.
Yes.
It now has some patina.
It has patina, more patina. That
gun has a lot of patina.
That gun. Oh yeah, and then
it had a little more yesterday.
So we're shooting this Ithaca 37, and it, you know, we're not even putting like full house loads in it, and it's, you know, it's fine. It doesn't kick hard, you know, because there's gonna be somebody in the comments be like, I've been shooting that gun, whatever. That's fine. We're shooting it pretty quick, thump, 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 shooting some, you know, plates, transitions, we're really just fucking around. But you know, it's not like one time, and it's getting tiring. I was like, it's getting a little tiring, and then you know we go to put the guns away, and the buttstock is loose, and I'm like, son of a bitch, the buttstock is loose. So you know, Kraken's like, why should we put shit off for tomorrow that we can do today? So let's go fix it right now. So Kraken wants to go in there, and we have to take the butt plate off. And sure enough, under the butt plate, on the butt pad and the stock are rack numbers from the police department.
Yep.
Matching rack numbers. Because there was a debate, is this a police gun? Well, no, yeah, it's a police gun because they've marked under it.
It had no engraving or stampings on it.
Yeah, but it had, we took some pictures of it, but it's a police gun. It's got rack numbers.
Yep.
So we'll document, so that was kind of fun. That was interesting.
And then finding the screwdriver to actually fit.
Yeah, we had to get the screwdriver from the tractor tool area, not the gunsmith area.
That one will fit. Grab it.
Yeah, I was like, I was kind of a big fucking screwdriver to jab.
Perfect fit.
Jabbing that fucking hole. Obviously, you have a lot of experience jabbing shit in the fucking holes.
That's what she said.
Yeah, so it fucking worked. So that was fun. You shot the 870. That's an 870, right? The National Guard gun?
Yep, 870 riot gun. ONG mark gun.
Yeah. So every scratch you put on that gun is one more rioter from Lucasville.
Right?
Yeah.
1,900 of them guns issued to the Ohio National Guard, and 23,000 of them were at Lucasville.
That's
Just ask anybody trying to sell one.
Yeah, eat your heart out, Singer 1911. Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, those guns, I don't know. I mean, how expensive? Do you remember what I paid for that gun?
I don't remember what you paid for it. I had a guy trying to sell me an ONG marked that exact gun.
Yeah.
And he wanted $1,600 for it, and I told him he was fucking crazy. And to my knowledge, he still got it. Local guy back home. And he went right there. Well, it's worth more money because it's an ONG gun, documented ONG gun with the proper engraving and the proper format. So it was used in the Lucasville prison riot, and you don't know that. They issued those to guard units all over the state.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't remember what I paid for it. I remember being okay with the price. I remember like
I seem to remember it being under $1,000.
I don't think it was that cheap, was it?
Yeah, I think
that was the Ithaca that was under.
No, I'm pretty sure you were under $1,000.
Did I get?
Because I was kind of amazed you got it that cheap for what because I'd been looking for one for you, and the stuff I was finding was $1,100, $1,200.
Because I've seen them like $1,800.
Yeah, and then I found a local guy that had one.
I've seen one for $2,300.
He wanted 16, and I told him he was fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And then so I was pretty shocked that you got it for what you did. So I mean, if I'm telling you the going market seems to be 11 or 12, pretty much, and I was definitely surprised you got it as cheap as you did. I'm thinking probably under $1,000.
So
or right around $1,000.
make a hand signal like to the sniper. I'm gonna tell you to stretch. So I am going to put. You keep talking while I search for something.
Cut the segment.
No, I'm not.
We don't know what that. We don't know. We got to fill time. Cut the segment. Oh, that's the hand signal for I found the price.
Let's see here. Keep talking.
But I mean, there's nothing really special about them other than the provenance of them being marked ONG. It's just an 870 riot gun with a bayonet, barrel clamp on it. They're a can of corn guns in their basic, formation that they are. They're solid. They run forever. They're idiot proof. They're easy to work on. They probably have the lion's share of the law enforcement market, even though I think there's probably better law enforcement guns out there. But just because the 870's been around since the late 50s in one version or another. They literally have the lion's share of the market. They're solid. So to me, spending $1,000 on an 870 that's crazy money to me for one, but being it's Ohio National Guard marked, I could see where that would be of value to somebody, just not to me.
It looks like I picked it up over a year ago. It looks like I picked it up in August of 24. So, but
that's probably about right.
I don't have the price. So there's been so many guns bought. I remember there was a gun. I was surprised, but I don't remember. I should finish the sentence for the listener. I remember there was a gun in a not too distant past that I was surprised at what I got it for. So maybe that was the gun. Because I know, remember the BRN-10, the Brownell's AR-10 repop? Mm-hmm. Oh, I fucking destroyed.
You kind of got ass raped on that.
I destroyed that market because I'm the one guy that paid too much for that gun, and people are going to be looking at that number for 10 years being like, fucking this is what to go for. So, yeah, if I got that under $1,000, I did really good on that. I don't remember.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I was pretty amazed what you got it for. And for what I knew of the market, it would have had to have been $1,000 or under for me to go, wow.
Okay. All right. Well, I feel good. Hey, you know what? It's good to feel good about a gun today because it hasn't been the greatest.
Not the greatest gun day.
Not the greatest gun day.
On one front.
So, I seem to remember with the Ohio National Guard gun, there may have been another one also up for auction at the time, and it had that stupid folding stock on it. Mm-hmm. And that one, I think, got all the attention. And because it
had that stupid top folder on.
That fucking thing.
They fucking hurt too.
They look cool, and so the kids want them. But if you're going to shoot that, fuck that.
That's brutal.
That thing's a piece of shit. It's the same for the SPAS 12. Like we have a SPAS 12, and it doesn't have that folder on it, that folding stock. But it's like that stock sucks. Mm-hmm. It's like, but that's what everybody wants because of the movie. So, all right, so. ONG gun, Ithaca 37.
8.7. Yeah, the ONG gun's the 870, the FN57.
You brought your FN57 into town.
We were kind of surprised on how that performed.
It's
kind of a fun little shooter. And you hit it you hit it 100 with it, didn't you? First shot.
You
hit it 100 first shot and went, "Yep, I'm done."
See, this is where the listener gets privy. Because all this stuff that we're talking about probably won't hit the website for possibly a week or two, depending on how I'm going to, with the content strategy, because we're getting back up to shooting. but I have it on video. First shot offhand at 100 yards on a 10-inch plate with iron sights on an FN57. Ding. And it was like, holy shit. I mean, because the joke was like, Soviet paratrooper helmet, 100 yards. Mm-hmm. It's like, if you're going to do that, that better be a flat shooting gun.
It obviously is.
And I'll tell you what, I put that on a 10-inch fucking plate, two-handed, and it's like, ding. Like, wow, I hit that damn thing. And so I literally stopped filming. It's like, well, this is going to be a video short because it's just like, I don't want to, you don't want to hit it from the first shot. Then like the next 9, you miss. Like, oh no, it shoots real well, I promise. I was like, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
It's like that one good golf shot I'm going to put on Facebook, even though I shot 143 for 9 holes.
Yeah. Hey, you put that video on the internet. Obviously, I'm a professional sniper.
Yes.
Sniper shot.
Not 10 people in the whole world could make that shot.
That's if not 10 people in the whole world can make that shot and 9 of them is dead. There's one guy in Croatia. He's got to be dead now.
They dropped a whole building on his ass.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard the guy
that got the shovel.
Yeah, I heard the guy that made the shot with the FN. He's dead and buried in the desert 3 hours later.
Well, how do you know that? Still got the shovel. Yeah, it's a good time. So, but those FN guns, look. I was very surprised.
I think it's a fun little gun. 20 rounds, lightweight. The safety's weird, but it works. And it's ambidextrous.
You learn a manual of arms on it. I'm actually not opposed to that safety.
Yeah, I mean it's not bad. I mean 20 angry bees. You could do a lot of damage with that gun.
And they are angry little bastards.
Yeah, I mean it's like I think a girl could it's not a small gun, but
it's light.
And
the grip's a little big.
There's a lot of firepower in that gun. I mean, it's an interesting gun. Like, and I said it on video and I'll say it here. We don't have one. I've wanted one. And what's going to end up happening is if I don't secure one, when they finally stop making that gun, they're going to get stupid expensive. And it's going to be the FS2000 all over again. Mm-hmm. Or that BRN-10 because it got raped on it. Well, I didn't buy an FS2000 when I should have because I don't really like bullpups. And it's like, well, there's always tomorrow. Who needs a toilet seat? Because the gun's got a little toilet seat on it, if you know what I'm talking about. And then all of a sudden, FN's like, oh, no more. Bam, 35. You're lucky to find one at 2,800.
Yeah. Right
now, you'll see them 3,500, 4,500, 5,000 with the optic on them. And I'm like, fuck. And, I'm going to have to buy one of these days, but I don't want to do it. And I don't, so I don't want to spend $1,300 on an FN57. I'd rather spend 6 or 7 on a used one, but you never see them used. You never see them fucking used anywhere.
No. So I've got a theory on that. I thought about this a little bit last night. I've got a theory on that because, thinking back, it's not something that would have landed on my radar at a big gun show. Mm-hmm. There's another one of them fucking retarded looking Buck Rogers guns. But I don't know anybody. I know one guy that has one, and they were an authorized duty use weapon.
They had limited success in the U.S.
But I don't know anybody else that has one. I know a couple people that have talked about getting the half price Ruger and then getting rid of it because they don't function well.
Oh, they don't?
No.
I didn't know that.
The round itself is a real bitch to reload, and it's for what it is. It's a little pricey.
Yeah.
So I think the guys that have them, one of two things: there's just no used market for them right now because they're not on anybody's radar, or they spent the money and like it, and they don't mind the high cost of feeding it once in a while.
Yeah, because it's not a primary gun. It's like a gun for us. It's basically a collectible, a reference gun. We'll we'll pay the price for the ammo when we want to shoot it.
And I'm going to be honest, the only reason I picked it up is I was just kind of priced into it. I made such a good deal. It's like, if I said no, that's where two fools would have met. One for pricing it that low, and then my dumbass for not buying it that low.
That's one of those guns.
It was just priced into the...
I had asked you to see if we couldn't get two of them.
Dude, I tried.
And unfortunately, it didn't come to fruition. And so, we're not going to say what the price you paid for that gun was, but
ridiculously
he told me what it was. And I think I said, if you don't buy that gun, tell him I'm buying it right now. Mm-hmm. And he wouldn't have sold it to me because I'm not in the club and I'm not going to say who, how, and why. But, I was like, I want one. Like, I would have committed to buying 5 of them.
Oh, at that price?
If it's like, they got 5 of them, be like, I'll take them all. I'll solve your problem. Not a problem. Well, but you're in Ohio. I'll pay shipping. Not a problem.
Yep.
I'll send you a label, pre-printed to go to the FFL. Not a problem. I'll take them all. I mean, if I have to buy a collection to sell the 4 to keep the 1, I'll do that. I mean, I haven't had to do that in a while, but I mean, we certainly are capable of doing it.
Well, and they were priced in, so I mean, you wouldn't have got hurt. You'd have made money on the deal.
Oh God,
you'd have made money to the point the one you kept would have been free.
I would have made a fortune on those.
Yeah.
But it's like, again, it's a gun. I feel compelled to buy one because if I don't, I'm gonna having to spend $2,000 on one, and I'm like, ugh. And then the magazines will be. How much are the magazines? I mean,
I don't know because it came with 3.
See, FN does it right. Let me take a look here. So you keep talking. Let me just...
It came with 3 and some ammo and actually some armor-piercing ammo, which right now on Gunbroker looks like it's actually selling for, anywhere from $400 to $450 a box for 50 rounds. So I've got 2 factory-sealed. I think it's SS-190 is the armor-piercing designation for the military. And then I got, a couple, I think I got 100, 150 rounds of just, blaster ammo. But for that particular round, with the exception of American Eagle, which is full metal jacket, just what I call blaster range ammo is still premium ballistic tip style bullets. And the reason they're a bitch to reload is the powder charge you have to throw for that. There is no margin of error. The powder charge is so small and it uses a really fast burning powder. So you can go from too light to blow your shit up with just one bad powder throw. So you've got to pretty much individually weigh and trickle each charge.
Yeah, I wouldn't fuck with that.
And then when you resize it, it knocks the lacquer off of the casing, which makes it difficult to chamber after that. Some guys have limited success without, having the lacquer on them. And then probably the biggest problem is factory ammo, the projectiles epoxied into the case.
Yeah, that seems weird to me.
It's not a neck tension fit.
Do you think they're doing it for water sealing?
I think it's for 2 reasons. If I had to hazard a guess, I would say probably the most important reason is because the shoulder on that round is very tiny. The round itself is very tiny, so I could see trying to do a crimp job and just totally fucking the case up in the process. And then I think there is probably some water sealant factor keeping moisture because it's a battlefield round.
Yeah, it has to meet so they usually they shellac them and like. Yeah. I didn't look at the primer, but all military ammo is water sealed at the primer too.
Yep.
Well, it looks like FN there's 2 generations of magazines. There's a Mark II magazine, 20 round for $50. There's a Mark II 10 round magazine for band states at $50. There is a Mark III 10 round magazine, which looks different than the other Mark II, looks better, for $50. And then there's a Mark III 20 for a regular 20 round body magazine for $50. They're $50. So they're not stupid, but once
they go out of production, though, I mean, price is going to triple and quadruple.
Yeah, I'd want to have it.
It's a limited supply.
Yeah, we'd want to have at least 5 magazines for it. Yeah, I think they're again, I'm not, because someone will listen to this. Like, we're not advocating that somebody carry this gun or do anything with this gun or whatever. But I mean, it's a military gun. It's a proposed military caliber. And I think it's worth having. I think it's interesting. Like, I would never want the Ruger gun.
They're junk from everything I've heard and read.
But yeah, there's no appeal to me.
Yeah.
Like, the FN gun seems well made. It's different. It's unique. All the guns are the same. You know what I mean? Like, all the guns you've seen part of our reference collection. Most guns are the same. Mm-hmm. Like, there's just not that, all the 1911s are kind of the same. All the ARs are the same. That's why it's like all the Glocks, all the striker guns are all the same. I mean, there's really no difference between a Glock and a SIG P320. I mean, people pretend there is, and there obviously is.
One goes off in the holster and one doesn't.
Yeah, but I mean,
design wise,
they
really all share a similar design.
They're very similar. Like, there's, and so that's why guns that like, I was surprised when we were shooting the FN, the 5.7. I'm just like, how does this lock? And I'm looking at, I'm like, is it rotate? I'm looking at the barrel and I'm like, what am I missing? And all of a sudden I'm like, this gun is a blowback? Like, I had no idea that the 5.7, the little that gun, I just assumed it would lock. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. Even when I saw it with my own eyes, cycling it, watching it go straight back, and I'm like, how is this gun locking? Because I just refused to accept this gun doesn't lock. It's just a blowback gun. Like, okay. Yeah, it's a cool gun. So, all right. Well, you want to give them... Okay. I'll let you tell the story because I talk too much.
Yep.
Tell them breaking milsurp... Hold on one second. We're going to do something real quick. Okay, we had to stop there for a second. It's probably sounded a little weird, but no big deal. So, okay, Kraken... Breaking milsurp news. What do you have to tell the people? What do they need to know?
Well, let's just say the conversation started after about 15 shots.
Oh, when 15.
And it finally gets on paper. And I'm spotting and I'm like, that looks like that keyhole. Yeah. And the shooter of this particular weapon went, nah, that's just the way the sun's hitting it. The sun's high in the sky right now. Okay. Then a shot goes high and hits some wood, and it's kind of hard to tell, if it keyholed or not. And so this particular shooter dicked with the turrets a little bit, brought it back down to where it kind of hit in the same area code. And he had to go, son of a bitch, that looks like that keyhole. So he walked down there. And I'll be a son of a bitch if I wasn't right in the keyhole.
Yeah. It was a suspicious looking. You were right. That first shot was weird looking with the sun coming through. I'm like, man, I remember thinking, man, that cardboard tore funny. It's like, dude, fucking keyhole.
Yep.
I haven't actually personally seen a gun keyhole since...
Oh, God, forever.
A bunch of AK-74s came into the country at the old place I used to work, and they were using them. And I was with a coworker, and he's like, there's like a group there, and like, let's go up to this range and let's function test and zero this real quick out there. And so we run up there, and fucking this thing's keyhole in it, 25 yards. It's 5.45 ammo. It's like, what? It turns out it was like it became subsequent a known thing. Well, tell the listener, because we're talking. It's not an AK-74 that was keyholing. Tell the listener, what's the gun that was keyholing today?
It was a Mark II Mod 0 cheese-eating surrender monkey gun.
That might be the title.
Well, if you're a Simpsons fan, you'll get it. If you know, you know. Cheese-eating surrender monkey gun.
Keep talking.
The only exception is this is kind of in reverse, There's a line out of the movie Full Metal Jacket. Trade you some Arvin rifles. Never been shot and only dropped once. This one turns into been shot after we did a little more research, probably at least 12,000 rounds. And it doesn't look like it's been dropped, so it's kind of in reverse, especially for the French. But
you still haven't actually said it, what the gun is, though.
I'll let you break the news on it.
The military,
it's your clusterfuck there.
The military, the military surplus, Navy Arms Old Western Scrounger, French military imported sniper rifle, known as the FRF2, chambered in 7.62 NATO, apparently, with a 11.25 twist. We didn't read that twist. We read that on the internet. And so we pulled out some 155 grain match 308 ammo because I was like, well, you shoot the lighter stuff in it. And I was having some issues. It seemed like it was like up and down and whatever. We finally got it on paper, and it was keyholing. It was like 2 shots, and like it's keyholing. And so this is the gun that they went for about $7,000, and then we paid Scrome, which is an optics manufacturer in France, to make a brand new J8 military scope that we waited a year and a half for to go on top of this gun. So I mean, I've got $10,000, $11,000 in this gun, and 11, at least 11, and we haven't looked at the barrel. We were out on the shooting, and it's keyholing. It's keyholing 155 grain PPU match ammo at 115 yards. So, you know, maybe in theory we'll shoot some heavier stuff through it. Maybe we could eke out a little bit of life out of the barrel. We'll scope it. I've got a bore scope out there, a big one. According to the French published reports out of France, they claim that the barrel should hold its precision rifle accuracy out to 12,000 rounds, which matches military precision rifles in the U.S. in 308. People don't realize, like, for military precision, like a 10,000 round service life is, for a sniper rifle, it's pretty that common. Seems pretty, that's pretty common, depending, you know, if it's chrome lined or whatever you want, you know, however the barrel's done. And then the published reports are out of France that if the barrel has 20,000 rounds through it, it is completely trashed. Well, if what we saw today, this barrel is completely trashed. So did some subsequent looking, and I have a couple options. I've got a couple options. First option is to do nothing. Second option is to pull the scope off of it and sell it, and then try to buy another one and see if it'll shoot. But that would entail me not disclosing that it doesn't shoot. The third option would be to possibly have the barrel sleeved. I think we have a guy that could do it, but you'd still have to take the whole gun apart to do that. But you could maintain the original barrel, but just sleeve it. And then the fourth option would be, there's apparently there's enough of these guns that are shot out. Supposedly, the importer is aware of I don't know. There's conflicting information on the internet as to who knows what. Because again, that's going to be how it's going to be with this. That there are some companies in France that make barrels for this, and supposedly, according to somebody on one of these gun forums, there's somebody in Canada that makes a barrel for this gun. So, and now with the ATF changing some of their importation rules on barrels, it shouldn't be that hard to get barrels in.
There is another option. Come on down to the John1911 range on Sunday when Marky's not here, because I'm in a deal-making mood.
Oh, God.
I will sell that gun for $13.95. That is $13.95 American, And I'll even throw in a 3-piece Popeyes and a biscuit.
I have this.
Just don't tell Marky.
I have this image of the
big bow tie, Southern-looking Colonel guy on a car lot commercial.
The famous interview of Cat Williams, interviewed by Wanda down there in Atlanta, and he's like, no, only one of us has $13 worth of jewelry on. No. She's trying to insult him, and is like, you come on down to Citco, and for $9.95 we can get you everything Wanda's wearing right now. For $9.95 we can get you a French sniper rifle. So,
okay, now I'm bullshitting. I can't really make that deal because I don't know where Popeyes is.
There, you drove by a Popeyes to get here.
It doesn't register on my radar, but I'm not throwing chicken in anyway. I'll eat the chicken. So you got to take the deal without the chicken.
So, yeah. Well, but you know what? So I did some searching on these guns, just casual while we were under the shelter because I couldn't shoot. Because I was like, well, I guess I'm done. And because I'm done for the day. And I noticed when I searched for this gun, there is a dearth of information other than like old Western Scrounger and people in gun forums talking about, we've got the gun, it's a cool gun, glad to have it, or like they take pictures of it with their accessories. There's a little bit of Ian McCollum shooting one, but doesn't seem anybody else shooting these fucking guns. And I find that curious. It's like, oh, I wonder how many of these guns are keyholing or all fucked up. Maybe it's like, don't tell, I got a keyhole in one. It's like, well, we run a shooting reference collection, so I'm probably like just more projects.
There's just no good option.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, okay, what happens when I'm dead and John1911 doesn't turn into a museum and everything is liquidated, and then it turns out we've documented it, so the gun is going to be sold for parts? Or is it going to be sold as a wall hanger? Or is it going to, not bring as much money as it could at my estate because it doesn't shoot? Or is it going to be the one gun? Oh, yeah, it shoots because we had it fixed. So I literally did not see that coming.
You should have seen the look on your face when you walked back and had to admit it was keyholing. It was precious, let me tell you.
I was like, I walked up there. As I walked, I was like, I just didn't get in the truck. I'm like, I'm just going to walk down there. Pulled the camera. I'm like, son of, I mean, and the one that was through the cardboard, up close, it's plain as fucking day. It's, it's full fucking horizontal. It's like, what the hell? And then the one right in the wood. And it's like, okay. Well, they gave the stats as far as, the accuracy. What was it, 10 centimeters? And then it can't be more than 20 centimeters at 600 yards or 600 meters.
Something like that, yeah. And it's considered shot out.
Yeah, or considered shot out. It's like, what happens if we shoot it and it holds the accuracy standard, but all the rounds are keyholing?
I guess it thumps a deer pretty hard.
You're not going to get a bunch of meat out of that deer.
I wouldn't.
Just be hamburger.
I wouldn't hold my breath about it holding a 3-foot group at 100 yards.
Yeah, it's just like, well, fuck. So, yeah. So that's kind of where we're at with that one. So we've gone for, I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to cover or discuss? We don't need to do a blotter. We don't need to do.
No. We did have some fun with the Ed Brown.
That gun shoots.
I was a little rusty this morning, but I kind of got settled. I changed the rear bag out, and I got settled in a little better with it. And
Gamechanger.
Yeah.
Kraken was using a Gamechanger
with it.
Kraken was using a Gamechanger as a rear bag. He flipped it upside down, and all of a sudden it's like
it came to life.
Yeah, it's like I think Kraken's probably seen the light on the Gamechanger.
Yep.
They come in different sizes. You probably go out and buy one, aren't you?
Yep.
I knew it. Yeah.
You are a great spender of my money.
Yeah. So,
you've talked me into some goofy shit over the years.
Look, thousands of competitors at PRS matches or, NRL matches or whatever, can't be wrong. Basically, it's you need two things to be competitive: bring your rifle, and then bring a Gamechanger.
That bag really stabled the gun up. I could really get down on it, lock it in good.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I did notice about the gun is it did absolutely have a preference for premium Federal Gold Medal match ammo.
Yeah, I mean, it's
because I tried 4 different types of ammo, from the cheapest S&B blaster, minute of deer accuracy load, clear up to Federal Gold Medal match in 190 grains. They all group differently. I mean, I'm used to being able to, just take a rifle and, I got some Remington core locks and it'll shoot, 2-3 inches at 100 yards. That'll kill a deer. And, well, shit, all I got is some Federal high shocks, and they'll shoot 2 to 3 inch groups at 100 yards and kill a deer. Don't have to worry about it. Don't have to spend an afternoon resighting in. But with that Ed Brown, so I had some cellular.
I say
S&B.
I say cellular and Balot.
Yeah,
but I don't know what it really.
And then I had some Black Hills new, not remand target ammo in 190 grain, and then I had quite a few rounds of Gold Medal match. And the Gold Medal match, it definitely grouped better than all the rest. But they all still would have killed a deer out to a couple of 100 yards easy enough.
Mm-hmm.
But they all definitely shot in different places on the target with the same hold. So,
Yeah, well, that's normal.
One group might have shot 11 o'clock. One group might have shot 4 o'clock. Like I said, you weren't gonna miss a deer over the deal at reasonable ranges. But I was surprised at the disparity of the groups. It didn't surprise me that the Federal grouped the tightest, but just comparing the ammo where the groups were with the same aim point, that did surprise me a little bit.
I've never actually seen, I don't believe, 300 Win Mag Gold Medal match ammo in real life being used. Because most people that come out here with 300 Win Mag hand load it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was really impressed with that ammo.
Yeah.
And is this a Shiloh barrel? Is that Ed Brown put a Shiloh on that gun? And it got big ass bull barrel on that thing. That thing is like fucking. You could beat a black bear to death with that gun. That gun because people on the internet that talk about shooting versus shooting. This is going to sound like it's not impressive. That gun is, once you got the Gamechanger and you got that rear bag set up, that gun with that ammo was holding better than one MOA all the way out to 500 yards.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't going crazy out there at 500. It was a one MOA gun all the way out. And you even proved it because you shot the one drill where and you did it with holdovers. So we didn't do the entire string, but you shot a 60-yard 10-inch plate, 100-yard, a 200-yard, and then you went out to the 500-yard on holds.
On 10-inch plates.
On 10-inch plates, all the way at no misses. Boom, 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 boom. And I mean that gun is holding, that ammo is holding one MOA. And if you hold that gun hard and really, really lock that in mechanically, you might discover that ammo shoots significantly tighter.
A little more time behind that gun, and I think I could have tightened those groups up.
Mm-hmm.
But that particular drill, it has a lot of moving parts.
Oh, by design.
Between the hold under and then the dead on, and then and the way the range is set up, it was my scope has a throw lever on it, so I would have to back it down, find my next target, get on it, slam the throw lever down to bring my magnification power back up. So that option I really loved.
Oh yeah.
But if I'd had a bipod and that Gamechanger back bag, I think I probably could have run that drill a little quicker. And if I was a little more oriented with the range itself where the targets are placed and not have to work so hard to find them again.
You could have run the drill almost just as fast. I mean, functionally just as fast with the bag you were using out front if you just had worked the bag, if you had grabbed the bag.
If I had more familiarization with it.
You just weren't really.
But the way the targets are set up, you actually had to physically move the front bag.
Yeah.
To be able to get on target.
As opposed to trying to
you couldn't rotate around and track onto it.
If you drag the gun, it rolls the bag. You got to grab the bag and move the whole thing. And that just comes with experience. But, like the thing is, again, it's something we've seen out here is military shooters tend to have 200-yard zeros. The cops all have 100-yard zeros. So all you have to do is, the military shooters, because they're so used to being able to do holdovers and hold unders, but if a lot of them will fuck up, you bring it in real close, the offset fucks them up because it's too close. Mm-hmm. And then on the law enforcement shooters, you get them, they're 100-yard zero guys, and they don't know how to handle if they haven't been put under the situation of a precision rifle shot at 25 yards. Or 50 yards or 60 yards or some random yardage for two reasons. One, they've never practiced it. And two, how their gun is zeroed, a lot of them, it'll bottom out at 100 where they don't leave themselves or they don't know, depending on, like my one blazer, I know I've got 3 below. Like if I bottom out that gun, if I'm in the dark and I've lost my clicks, I bottom the gun out, up, 1, 2, 3, I'm re-zeroed at 100. Mm-hmm. But I'm familiar with, I can drop it 3, 2, 1 below 100, and I can even make a little bit of adjustment, up close. But you got to deal with, the hold under. And if you don't, it's super simple to deal with it. But if you've never dealt with it, and all of a sudden like, oh, fuck, I don't have dope for 25 yards. Yeah, no one has dope for 25 yards. You got to mechanically adjust your gun. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how you kind of fuck with them a little bit because they get too comfortable. Because in that drill in particular, people get the weakness of, and I told you this specifically, the weakness of precision rifle shooters is, and this is where they do this at competitions, is precision rifle shooters tend to be overly static. And, because they build up their position, they build up their rest, they build up their bags and all this and game changers and all that, or bipods and whatever. They take a shot and they go for up and do whatever and take as much time as they want. But, in the real world, whether you're hunting or law enforcement shooting, it's being able to get that gun up, get behind it, get an eye box, get it loaded, and finding a target and getting a shot, and then breaking all that and moving into a new position. And I'm not talking about moving in a new position, getting up and running from like a bench to a bench. I mean at the same fucking location. And a lot of that's the next step. Once you have your shit zeroed, is being able to build your position quickly behind the rifle, and then it's build your position quickly and behind your rifle and find that new target that you just have, like, oh, it's 30 feet to the left and it's 100 yards closer. And, because you were kind of getting lost in there a little bit. And that's why you were zooming down and zooming up. Well, it comes in handy if you just automatically, if you know that you're going to be swinging, I just zoom it down. Mm-hmm. Just find it, and I zoom in and zoom in.
Once that mentally clicked, the drill got a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was just right off the bat. It just shit like that. It's just it's just getting out of
fun
static, shooting the same can of soda.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So, well, we've been going for a while. Nice long podcast. Anything else you want to do before we toss it?
Well, I think it's steak 30.
It is steak 30. I am hungry as shit. Well, this wraps up episode 32 of the John1911 Podcast. You want to see more stories or pictures, links of anything we discussed, please go to the website at john1911.com. It's JOHN1911.com. Remember, it's all about shooting guns and having fun, everybody. Have a good night.
Be safe, everybody.